Okay, so now let's go to this. Yeah, these are the things which we generally take care. So let me just tell you one by one. So what is remote site setting? So in remote site setting, we have one more thing here. We can say it's an endpoint URL. So generally, that endpoint URL we generally store in the remote site setting. What is the endpoint URL is? Endpoint URL means let's say where we need to hit. We have two parties here. Let's say this is my one integration, this is my one, this is my second. So what I want to like this, and we have multiple organizations there. Let's say it's Oracle, Salesforce, like Power BI, and there are lots of things. Let's say I have this third party. I want to integrate this third party with this third party. I don't want to integrate any other third party with any other. I want like this record should be created to this. Let's say this is Salesforce, this is Oracle. Salesforce record should be created to Oracle. Okay, it should be one unidirectional. Salesforce is doing call outs and this is doing call in. Like they are doing call out because record is sending by Salesforce. It's a call out from Salesforce side.
Okay.
Call in because they are entering the record in the Oracle. It is call in for Oracle. Call out to call in. Okay, but if the record will be transferred from Oracle to Salesforce, that is call out for Oracle and call in for Salesforce. Okay, that is a thing. So now this is a call out and call in. So now let's say record is transferring. Okay, data is transferring. So how will we get to know where I need to hit? Because there are lots of organization. So this remote site setting endpoint URL, I will mention the endpoint URL for the third party. Let's say Salesforce is sending a data to third party. Okay, sending a Salesforce is doing call out. So that we should have a Oracle Oracle URL in the like remote site setting. Okay, where we need to hit what is a unique link. Okay, so connected app. So what is connected app? Connected app generally used in Salesforce while creating the. Okay. So if you go to apps, so generally
Enable settings.
you'll give the full access. Let's click on continue button. And you will get consumer key. And you get consumer secret. Okay, consumer secret you will get both. So accordingly, like connected app is generally used to create a consumer key and a consumer secret to authenticate third party that this is a like my own system. Like you can do call in only with third party because what like third party will ask you consumer key and consumer secret. Like third party will ask consumer key and consumer secret. Okay, if they are asking the consumer key and consumer secret, then you have to provide your username, ID, password, key, and consumer key, consumer secret. So all these things you have to provide to third party because they need to authenticate like where I need to hit. This is a connected app used to make connection between two APIs, two applications. Okay, that is a connected app.
Means the third party should be web services or anything.
That can be anything. You can use any web service, means that is a SOAP API. So yeah, so that can be anything, means third party.
The web services, if we want to use, we have to use SOAP API.
We can use web service as well. Okay, fine. So now we'll get these things like endpoint URL we'll get. So we'll get the connected app to authentication purpose. Okay, to public site. So why this is an alternative if you are using the connected app? In case of connected app, what will you give to them? So you have to give consumer key. You have to provide your
Yeah,
consumer connected app consumer key.
uh,
You have to provide
and
consumer secret.
secret key.
You have to provide consumer secret. You have to provide security token, and you have to provide your username, Salesforce username, and password. You seems like if you are providing username and password to third person, is it perfect? No, this is not a perfect. We should not give access of our Salesforce to third person. Why we are we are showing everything to third person, right? That is not a good thing. So
Yeah.
then, like, let me remove these things. This is covered at the top. So if you are providing all these things, that is not a good way. So after providing all these things, what will be the result? Result will be access token will be created, like which will tell, like, yeah, I have authenticated with third party, I have authorized. Okay, access token will be generated. But this is not a good way if you are providing ID, password, and each and everything. So what we will do here to overcome this issue? So we'll go to public site. So in public site, we store the data in the public site only, and will like just definitely every time I will give the endpoint URL, one third party will hit to our Salesforce. That time public site will be revoke the access of the class, and then it will work. Okay.
Mama, what just happened? What just happened? Bye bye, sweetie. Okay, bye. The college lost big complicated. Everyone, kitties.
Hello. Huh.
Yeah.
So uh, huh. So this is my Postman, and so this is my let's say let's go to Postman. Let me show you how it looks like and all. So you can download the Postman. Even you can install the Postman software in your system as well, and from like Chrome extension as well. So it's a Postman Chrome extension. It will go there.
Yeah, Bob. Okay, Bob. Yeah.
Okay, this is my Postman. So what will I do here? So whatever the third party, like first I will create an access token. So these are my access tokens. So generally in access token, so generally I will provide like my consumer ID, consumer client ID, and my client secret. So there might be some client secret as well. Yeah, this is my client secret, and this is my username, this is my password, and this is my access token. So these are my access tokens after this. Okay, so I'm providing all these things. So once everything will be perfect, then I will click on the send button, and my access token will be generated. So this is my access token. My access token is generated now. Okay, so once my access token will be generated, and make sure if you are doing little mistake, let's say mistakenly I'm writing one here, and I'm clicking on send button here. Now it is saying authentication failed. Okay, I cannot authorize third party with Salesforce. I'm clicking on send button. Now everything seems perfect. Then I will copy this thing. And if I want to send a data and all, so I'll create a new one, and I'll go to body, and I'll go to header, and in the header, so I will pass this bearer, and like it should be authentication and content type JSON. Accordingly, what will I do here? I'll go to body, and whatever data I want to pass in JSON format, and if I want to pass in the let's say XML format, that I can pass here. okay, that I can display here, and I can click on the send button. Then whatever data I'm sending here, the same data will be go to Apex class in the Salesforce side, and there will be a one REST resource Apex class. So that class will be captured the data, and then that can be created to Salesforce. So that's why I said it's a REST resource Apex class. So we should have a REST for calling purpose. We should have a REST resource calling. Okay, we should have a REST resource class. Okay, it's an annotation in the top of the class. Let's say in the test class we have added test. So this is a REST resource in the top of the class. Okay, so in the REST resource class, so inside that we'll create one wrapper class. Inside this we'll create one wrapper class. So why we will create a wrapper class? Because we are sending the data, country, city, domain, state, zip. So all these variables will create from the wrapper class, and that we can wrap in the main class, and accordingly we can insert the data database. And parallelly we can use the different methods. It's a post method, put, patch, and delete. These methods we can use. So accordingly we have all these methods, actually all these methods which we have. So these methods we can use here. And let's say if I want to send the data to Salesforce, I will click on the post button. Data will be created to Salesforce. Okay, if data is created to Salesforce. Okay, so return type is SFDC. I guess there is a domain is a return type in my Apex class. That's why it is showing. So if I will go to click on the get button. So if let's say I want to read the data from Salesforce to Postman. So why it is showing the error? Because I don't have not any get post method I didn't create in the Apex class side. Make sure you should have both the, if you are sending a data post data, like Postman is nothing, it's like a third party. We are using just for testing purpose. Postman is only for testing purpose only. So if everything seems perfect on that scenario, you will remove the Postman middle of the picture, and directly you will make a communication with third party with Salesforce. Okay, so this is for only for testing purpose, whether your data is creating or not. Okay, so these are the things. So make sure if you are doing you are going to create a records in this database from with Postman. So method should be Postman, and method should be post in both of the side, let's say Oracle side and Salesforce side as well. So both the sides should be a post method if you are creating a data. If you are reading the data, it should be a get request both the side. If you are, let's say if you are updating the data, so you should have your put request like in both the sides. Accordingly you have delete and all, so you should have like this only. Okay, getting it or not?
And
Even I will say,
yeah, what is two-way authentication?
two-way authentication is also, let's say if we have a colon, this is colon, it's a one way. Colon means it's one way. If I want to make colon and call out both, so on that scenario I need to handle all the data in one Apex class. On that scenario, so I will create a Apex class. Let's say let me just show you in my org if it is open. And let's say sorry, let me write at the rate REST resource. Okay, so see in this one, so I have REST resource class. I'm using REST resource class. So this is my URL. Okay, so this REST resource class I'm using a post method. The post method as a parameter, even I can use wrapper class or like this, both are the good way. So I can whatever data I'm getting here, like name, phone, whatever we are getting, so same data. So we can finally we can return the ID and all. So accordingly like get request you want to make, delete, put, patch, whatever. Okay, all request we can write the data. This is a one way integration. And even
Yeah.
like we are just sending the data from Postman to this class. This is that class. Let me just show you.
Yeah.
So this is my case creation. Okay, so it's a country, city, domain, state, and zip code. So similarly, that same thing I'm passing here. Okay, so same things I'm passing here. So if I want to go to call out, so call out will not be annotated with REST resource class, that will be a global. So on that scenario, so whatever things we are performing the postman side, so the same things we need from third party. So what we need from what we given to third party, tell me like what we given to third party, what we given. So we given consumer key, consumer secret, and we give access token, ID, password, everything we given to third party, right? Same thing we need to ask from third party now, because that time we were doing the call in. So now we are doing call out. So we need to send out data from Salesforce to third party. So in this scenario, so we need to ask all the data from the third party. Okay, just wait a minute. Let me check my charger.
Okay. Guys, was okay, guys. This was the way to go.
Yeah. So this is the thing, like which I told you, call in and call out. Like whatever data we are asking from third party, we were giving the third party. Now we will ask all these things from third party, and will authenticate the things, and then third party will need to write a Apex class, a code from their side, and we also need to write a code from our side to handle the things. So let me just show you. I don't have any example, I think, so let me just show you on the Google only. Call out. So same things we are doing here. So this is for call out code. This is not a REST resource class. So we are just passing the endpoint. You can say Postman is doing the call out, right? So we are passing the endpoint URL here. Same way we are passing the endpoint URL here. Okay. So in the call out, in the Salesforce side, we'll write like this. So we are putting the method here post. So they are putting the method post. Okay, same way we are passing the like in the Postman. So we then that time they were passing content type application JSON, something like this. They're passing content type application JSON like this. Okay, same things we need to write in a Apex class, and we need to call that thing. So we are now we need to pass set body. This is a JSON we are passing the body. So same way they were passing the JSON in the body. Okay, so whatever data request, we will capture the data. So accordingly, if you want to store the data or whatever the things we need to do, that is the process, and this is the main integration process. Okay, these are call in and call out. These are bi-directional two-way integration, we can say. So if you want to write these same things in the JSON, in the XML format, how will we write it? So I will write here. Let's say if I have a country. I have city, domain, state, zip code. Okay, all this data. Inside this, if I want to send like India or something city, let's say Delhi, domain Salesforce, state, let's say it's Haryana, HR, zip code can be anything. Okay, so this data I want to send to third party Salesforce. Okay, from third party, or these are means XML request actually. This is JSON, and this is XML. Got it or not? Hello.
Yeah.
Kumar.
Yes, got it.
On a high
Do we
level.
write a response on this one?
Sorry.
On a high level, how do we write a response on the XML?
How do we write response in XML?
Yeah, usually in
No,
the
we'll get
caller.
the response, na. So that is response we'll get. Generally, see, this is my request. So this is my request. If I click on the send button, so what will happen? So we'll get a response in the in this one. So this is my response.
Yeah.
This is my response. Generally, this response is not captured by our third party, and sorry, Salesforce itself. Let's say if you are doing the call out. If you are doing the call out, we are sending the request and we are capturing the response. Okay, that response is totally dependent on the third party, whatever the return types of the static method they have. So if we want to handle that response in Salesforce, whatever data we'll get it, so accordingly, so we'll get the response in the, like, we'll get the body, and accordingly we'll capture the, we can parse the data, we can deserialize the data, and accordingly we can store in the different objects. Okay, we can deserialize. We have serialized and deserialized. Let's say we are getting 200, we are getting the 200 request is success. We are getting the response success response we are getting. So whatever deserialization we are doing here, so in the S object, so that we will write here. Accordingly, we'll write the for loops accordingly. So whatever data we are getting from the third party, it's a result here. So that animal will get from there, and accordingly we'll write the for loop. Accordingly, we can store if you want to write a DMLs and all. So we can iterate like this. Got it or not?
Yeah.
Huh.
XML will write in SOAP only, no?
Yeah, exactly. So the JSON is not supported in SOAP. So
Yes,
it's
yes.
in generally in SOAP. So what we will do here? Let's say this is my batch. So this is my Apex class. Okay, so in this batch Apex we have scheduler. Sorry. We have generate from Visual. We have generate from Visual
Yeah.
button. So what it does, so
Yeah.
this help us to make a SOAP API with third party. So this we have two type of Visual. We have multiple, actually generally we use two type of Visual. One is partner, one is enterprise. So enterprise is to make a one communication with one. Let's say if we are using partner Visual. Okay, so partner means, let's say I have this third party, this third party, this third party, and this third party. I want to connect Salesforce with all the third parties at a time. That time I will use partner Visual. If I have this third
Okay.
party and this is Salesforce, this is third party, I want to make communication one-to-one communication only. Okay, so that is my enterprise Visual. Okay, let's say if I will choose, like third party will give this Visual is given by third party only. So once they will
Yeah.
give us a third Visual, so accordingly we can create a data and in the Salesforce. Accordingly, I'm just I'm just passing any of the value here, but yes, data should be for format. Accordingly, the third party will give us a Visual, and whatever parameters they are giving us, that all parameters we are storing in the Visual. That is the thing. Okay. So can you please give me 1 minute? I'm coming back in 1 minute.
Yeah.
So we were discussing about like APIs and all. So that is the thing which I told you in the SOAP API. Generally, like REST API is we can say it's a lightweight, and like SOAP API is a bulk. Like if you have, like we have different Visual files, and we have to consume the third party Visual, and these kind of things we can do the call out and callings from REST API and from like the SOAP API as well. And like JSON and like XML is supported, format is supported by REST API, and XML only supported by like it's SOAP API. So we generally use web services keyword. So we generally use a web service keyword in case of like SOAP API, but in REST API we don't use this kind anything like this. So let me just show you an example of SOAP API as a real time. So let's say if I'll go to my sandbox. Okay, so let me just go to setup. This setup, so I'll go there and accordingly. Oh, it's a partners order. Yeah, this is a class. So see, this is a class. This is my web service class. So this is my web service. So this web service is generally, this is my SOAP API. So if I'll check how many methods is with this web service, so there are lots of methods with web service. Means I can say I'm doing the web service even in the upper class as well. So we have to declare with web service. So this is my SOAP API. Okay, this is my SOAP API, and we have to we are using some, like if you want to generate the visual and all. So for this one, so we have to generate, because if you want to make a communication with third party with this Apex class, whatever the parameters we are passing, let's say we are passing these parameters, and the same parameters like third party is also passing, they will create a visual, and they we will generate a visual of this one and will pass to them. Okay, that is a thing. Like we should have a generated visual accordingly, whatever things they like we'll get here. So this is the data we are getting here. This is a visual from this class. Actually, this is a visual from this only class only. So this visual will save in the notepad in XML format, and that this is a XML format data. So we'll pass in the XML and then we'll provide to them. Okay, so XML does not appear in the structure. Yeah. Okay, so that is a thing. So most of the work, so if they will ask you, so most of the work you done from the REST API side of SOAP. So generally you can say it's a REST API, because SOAP is quite little difficult, not that much, but it's quite different from this REST API. Okay. So now let's move to integration side. Oh, sorry, I stopped the sharing. Okay, let me share again. Okay, so now let's move to integration side. So you understood or not, or you have any doubt?
Yeah, I got it.
Lakshmi? I think she's not there. So let her.
I understood very well.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, fine. So now let's move to lightning. Lightning. Before going to lightning, let me show you one real-time example, which you can tell like whatever the challenges I got during writing Apex class and all. So that challenges, let me tell you.
Just a minute, one thing. In integration, what are the complex things? These 2 points.
Complex things is, let's say you are doing the REST API with third party. On that scenario, like they were passing the, like what was the challenging part for you? Challenging part was like they were passing the list of let's say they were passing the list of records in one parameter. Okay, but what happened? But they told you that we are passing the only, let's say they were passing the list of string, but you are getting only and they told you that we are passing a string only. Okay, so that was
Okay.
miscommunication between you and third party. If they are saying you, yeah, we are sending list of records, list of string, and you are supposed to get the around string only. But yes, that was miscommunication on that scenario. Like it was like at that time, to how to resolve the things. So you asked them whatever the JSON format you have, so please send it to me, and then we can handle it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Or so I can say So actually, what was the challenging part for you while writing the Apex class, or we can say the Lightning component? So challenging. So let it be open first. So let's say what was happening. So let's say I'm clicking on this directly globally search I'm doing here. I'm clicking on the search button. What was happening? So number of records was displaying on the table. So it was more than 50,000. You know, like this is my 51 records, but this is very less records because this is my sandbox. But in a production as a real time, so if you deploy this Lightning component to Visual in the production, that scenario, what will happen? So as a real time, so it will not be 51 and all. So it can exceed more than 50,000 records. And you know, we cannot retrieve a data from SQL more than 50,000 records. So if you are getting more than 50,000 records, so what will be the challenging part here? So let's say if you are clicking on directly search button, so then it will show the display the error on the UI side. So it is governor limit is actually like 50001 error, something like this. They will display on the top. So if they're displaying that on the top, so what is the overcome to? So like how can you, even if you are writing a try catch as well, you can say like I can handle this exception from try catch, this kind of exception, like if it is exceeding the governor limit and you are writing that same syntax in the try catch, so that will not be captured in the catch. That is a different exception. This is a governor limit exception that will not be captured in the catch. So even try catch will not be able to handle this governor limit. Okay, governor limit error. So what is the outcome to resolve this issue? So let's say you are writing one SQL, you are writing second SQL, you are writing third SQL. So again and again you are fetching the records, and accordingly you are just storing the records on the one table, and accordingly you are displaying on the top. So now what you are doing here? So let's say this SQL, we have multiple SQL. It is returning like 100 records. It is returning 1,000 records. It's 10,000 like this. Finally, it was more than 50,000. Let's say it is returning 10 records. So what I was checking before this one, so we have different limit method in the Salesforce. So that limit method I'm writing here, if this limit is, what is the limit for this? So it will tell, yeah, it is a 10 limit. What is total limit? It is saying it's a 50,000. So if it's a 50,000 is the limit. So and it was returning 10 records. Like definitely it was like 49,990 records. Okay. So if I'll go this one, it is saying I'm returning 10,000 records. Okay, total, let's suppose it's a 10,000 only. So combination of this and this. So we can say 50,000 minus 10,000. It's, if it is saying for 40,000. Okay, parallelly we were checking the data. If it is greater than or less than, if it is greater than 50,000, then it was through the custom error message, not exception error message. So customer told me like if it is more than 50,000, so don't display any exception message. Please display your custom error message on the UI, and tell them yeah, this is my custom error message, so please filter the add the filter criteria. If directly if they are clicking on the search button, they will retrieve more than 50,000. But in case they are adding some of the filter criteria, if they are adding some of the filter criteria, they are saying yeah, plan code and all. Let's say this is my plan code, it's 51 records. So if I'll click on that, definitely it will be less than 51. It is 17 record only. Okay, so that custom error message I want to display it on the UI if it is more than that. So we have different limit methods. So let me just tell you limit methods, governor limit in Salesforce. Limit class. Class is about to end, so please join again. So these are the methods, limit methods. So it's the aggregate query. If you go to list CPQ, DMLs, rows and all. So all these things you will get here. Okay, from this you can easily capture the governor limit, how much you covered and how much is remaining. Okay, that is very like good way to capture these things. Okay, so these are the things. So please join again.